finish, I would imagine.
I believe that is the case. Yes. If you're looking to apply for the position in the sideboard, it is careers.starcitygames.com.
Yeah, and we are taking applications. We are taking applications.
Yes, we are. So we will be underway here in just a moment between Jonathan Paoletta and Warren Booth. And it is just a foil swamp to begin things. I think that swamp is from Odyssey, but I'm not positive. Maybe, maybe not. Warren Booth is Vladimir. It's time for a Thoughtseize, Patrick. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these before, but what happens is they take two, and then you select a card from their hand.
Right, it is, they do have to pay a cost, so it is balanced. You get to select a card out of your opponent's hand. There's no guarantee they even have a card in their hand, so that's another thing that happens with this.
And the choice is, can't take a land, of course. It's a non-land card.
Right.
You can select Pack Rat. You could also select Desecration Demon, Gray Merchant, Sign in Blood, or Underworld Connections if Warren wanted to. But he decided to go with the Pack Rat.
Probably the best choice, easiest way to run away with a game in the mirror match. Booth over here, checking the list. 2 copies of Bioplite in his deck, so he's not dead for sure. But not a card he wants to see this early.
Sign in Blood via Urborg is going to draw Jonathan 2 cards. And now we will pass the turn back over to Warren.
So I think with this structure, the green deck is favored a little bit in this matchup because Abrupt Decay on Underworld Connections is a really important angle of attack.
Yeah, I think the green
Something
splash is great here.
The mono black deck does not have a similar analog.
You saw the Temple of Malady. Now it's kind of, I don't want to say it's necessary to draw Abrupt Decay, but it's certainly important because, of course, if you're just normal mono black, you don't really have an out to this situation. So at least having an out to Underworld Connections is a big deal. Lifebane Zombie, not a big player in this matchup. You're going to see the hand and other connections over there. There's Desecration Demon, a Gray Merchant, and 2 Swamps.
Warren could also use the connections of his own and keep pace that way.
Yeah.
That's the other path here, but
there's no removal spell right now, so this Lifebane Zombie can actually deal some damage. I assume that Warren has a removal spell for like a Desecration Demon. There's no guarantee that Jonathan's going to play it this turn, but it does make for kind of an interesting situation here. We could also just see Jonathan go, activate connections, draw a card, go down to 17, which is where he's going to start. Play the other connections, follow-up turn, play Gray Merchant, gain 6, drain 6.
Yep. I like this opening a lot.
Yeah,
just get these connections online. You can afford to take some shots, especially with Gray Merchant, to clean it all up, even if Lifebane hits you a couple times.
Yeah. So Booth will untap those 3 lands. It's time to draw a card. Down to 14 we go from the Lifebane Zombie hit, and we'll see if Booth does have something to play here. Desecration Demon would actually be really, really nice play here. Connections isn't bad either, though.
It's rare to see in the mirror match someone just kind of go beatdowns, cast on contested creatures, but Jonathan's hand looks a little soft to him right now.
I actually like the Demon play here a lot more than playing connections and drawing a card. I think that Warren Booth has to be aggressive now. Because there are 2 connections, your opponent has a Gray Merchant, so they're going to go up to 20 this turn, because you already know there's a 5th land and a Gray Merchant there. So I think you should continue just to give the beatdowns.
You got to punish him for drawing cards here when he has both connections in play right now. You have to kind of try to tempo him out of the game. That's the angle of attack you have to approach. The card advantage game, keeping up on that at least for the time being, that ship has sailed. Yeah. So Warren needs to make the game about something else.
Now, Paoletta activated his Underworld Connections right away, so that means he's not going to be able to cast a Gray Merchant this turn. I'm a little bit surprised by that. If you get that Thoughtseized, it's not good news. And if he does play, a Desecration Demon of his own, and that's what looks like it's going to happen, the chances of that living seem to be pretty low to me.
Yeah, you're playing into potential hero's downfall here.
Yeah.
Although, in fairness, Warren's removal suite, there are the hero's downfalls, and that's bad for Jonathan here if he has it. The rest of it, Devour Flesh, not the best, but I don't think Jonathan minds that too much. He gains 6 life. The rest of it's Bile Blights and Abrupt Decays outside the range of Desecration Demon.
Well, the Hero's Downfall is there. It takes care of Desecration Demon. There's an attack for 9. So Paoletta's going to end up taking a bunch of damage here before passing the turn back. See, now he's down to 4.
Yeah, he's getting rocked right now. Yeah. And now this is one of those spots where you play Desecration, you play your Gray Merchant, and it's
not even very good.
Warren can fire back by playing connections and getting that online. He can just kill your Gray Merchant. It's interesting. Again, you rarely see kind of this tempo strategy work in the mirror match, but Thoughtseize gave Warren the information necessary to know that he just didn't really have that much removal in his hand, and he could pursue this line.
A very high life total, too. Seeing an 18. That's going to get a little bit lower, I assume, again, because of the Gray Merchant, but I actually like Warren Booth's positioning here quite a bit, even though he's the one without connections. Now it's just going to be a passing of the turn. Of course, this reeks of a removal spell here for Jonathan to take care of the Desecration Demon and maybe even the Lifebane Zombie, too. We'll see. Booth is going to play a land here. And it'll be time for a trigger for Desecration Demon.
Jonathan with a Mutavault in play, so.
Yep. All right, and we go. And this reeks of a Hero's Downfall, yeah. So that's going to take care of that. Let's see if there's going to move as well on the Zombie. And it looks like the answer is no.
Just going to 1 here. Surprised he's not willing to offer up the Mutavault here.
I'm doing a Sign and Blood check. None for Warren Booth. Okay. There's Pack Rat. All right, so now he's got to worry about that. All right, now here's a safe time to cast Gray Merchant. And I like that he's going to leave Mutavault back to go active, Will Paoletta. So it's going to be a draining game of 6. So Pauletta's going to go up to 7, and Booth is going to go down to 12.
But now there's the next stage of this game, which is finding an answer to Pack Rat.
Yep. And the way that he did tap his mana, didn't leave Bioblight available. Only 2, but I think if he had Bioblight, he would left the mana available. So now we do shift roles here. Lifebane Zombie is going to get discarded. Pack Rat's going to make a rat. So in comes the token. There are 2 2/2s with the abilities for so much more the next turn. Again, the Mutavault's not looking very good right now. Can't block Lifebane Zombie, of course, because Lifebane Zombie has Intimidate, so that's not going to work. And then, you know, Pack Rat is too big. Now here's a Gray Merchant, so that's going to be for 2, 4, 5, and 6.
And this is just an attack for, I think this is just, Jonathan can't survive combat now.
Yeah, I mean, we might see a response to the Gray Merchant's trigger here with a removal spell. And he's going to go reaching here. Yeah, with that on the stack. This might be like Devour Flesh. Sure, that's fine. You sacrifice maybe I think you sacrifice the rat, right? And Lifebane Zombie doesn't get to attack very well, obviously, because Gray Merchant's in the way and Intimidate. That's all well and good. Let's see what he wants to sacrifice here. He's going to sacrifice something that has 2 black mana symbols, but Lifebane Zombie is pretty poor in this situation, so it's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, Warren can still shift into this role of, well, I'm just going to keep making Pack Rats.
Yep. And now here is an attack that I don't know if he wants to make. He hasn't played land yet this turn, so I don't know if he has Mutavault in his hand. He doesn't. Looks like it's just 2 Underworld connections. Now, he can make this attack, but then he loses one of his rats just to put Paoletta down to 1.
It does shut off the Underworld connections, but there are some dangers here. Like, if there's a removal spell for the Pack Rat, now Warren doesn't have a way to reassemble.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Mutavault back on Jonathan's side of the table, too, so he does have a blocker, potentially.
Yeah.
He's got some time.
Shutting off connections is pretty powerful, though.
Yep.
I will give him that. So I can certainly see where he's coming from with that aspect of this.
Giving him
second Mutavault.
Giving Jonathan 2 looks at a card here might be too dangerous.
There's a Mutavault there for Booth. He has the ability now. He's going to send in with both of these creatures. 2 cards in hand. There's 2 copies of Underworld Connections. I actually like the fact that 6 land can discard both of my creatures if I want to.
Yeah, even if Jonathan throws a double block on the rat with Mutavault, for example, he gets to keep the Pack Rat, get rid of a Mutavault. He doesn't get to keep the initial Pack Rat, but with the 2 that he can generate with the cards in his hand.
So it's time for some blockers. Maybe this is a Blight, maybe?
I think Jonathan's just debating if he wants to fire up 1 or 2 Mutavaults.
Sure. Looks like the answer's 2. And the big question here, if you're Warren, is what's the best way for me to use these Underworld Connections? Is discarding both of these better than actually casting one of them? He's decided the answer to that question is yes. So he's going to put 2 rats in the play. He gets to kill one of these Mutavaults. Gray Merchants just run into each other.
I think that the position Warren's taking here is he's trying to close out the game as soon as possible.
Yeah, just no nonsense.
Because a Gray Merchant from Jonathan's side swings this game quite a bit. The connections get unlocked. It's a lot of damage. So I think he's just trying to err on the side of close this out. Don't bother with the connections.
Feels like he's safe to do so now, unless Paoletta drew. Well, that makes it really easy.
That simplifies things, yes.
A Gray Merchant just off the top. So Gray Merchant Maxwell is going to take it down there from Warren Booth. He's up a game here over Jonathan Paoletta. Black Green Devotion up over Mono Black Devotion. And we're going to go to the sideboards here. I think things actually get more difficult for Paoletta, but we're going to take a look at his sideboard first. 3 Duress, 2 Erebos God of the Dead, 2 Freakus Cure, 3 Doomblade, a Dark Betrayal, Bile Blight, 2 Drown in Sorrow, and a Pithing Needle. I expect to see the Duresses come in. We know how this song and dance goes, of course, with the discard spells. Then there are 2 copies of Erebos, which are fantastic here. I have seen players board in Freakus Cure here in the past as a way to take care of both Mutavault and Pack Rat. I don't know if we're going to see that. And then the Singleton Dark Betrayal I like a lot, and of course, an additional Bile Blight gives you some insurance against a Pack Rat draw.
Yeah, pretty straightforward sideboarding here on Booth's side. 3 Doomblade, 3 Duress, 2 Freakus Cure, 2 Drown in Sorrow, 2 Erebos God of the Dead, a Vraska the Unseen, 2 copies of Golgari Charm. I think you're going to see the Charms and the Vraska come in. They're good at fighting over Underworld Connections, which is one of the most critical cards in the mirror match, possibly the most important cards. 2 copies of Erebos God of the Dead, and 3 copies of Duress, just powerful in long spell-oriented games. And maybe the Freakus Cures come in, maybe they don't, as you mentioned before.
So these players will shuffle up and get ready now. One thing you want to keep in mind, if you guys haven't joined us over the past couple of Open Series events, of course, the brand new schedule. And this is important for tomorrow morning, where we do come back bright and early at 8 a.m. And we'll take a look at our elimination rounds for Standard. At 9, we'll go to our Legacy Open. And then 10 o'clock, that's when our Modern Premier IQ does fire. So the brand new schedule here, of course, we are done after this match concludes. And then we come back tomorrow, we do our analysis of the top 8, take a look at the decks that made it, crown ourselves our first champion of the day, take a little break, come back for our Legacy Open, probably join that in round 4, round 5. I think you guys joined round 5 last week.
In Kansas City, it was round 5.
Yeah, and you had a 9-rounder there?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll join that in progress, watch some brainstorms, some fetch lands, all that good stuff, crown another champion, and of course keep our eyes on the Modern Premier IQ to see what wins there. First one was won by Malirapod when we were in Baltimore, and then Kent Ketter won with the Black-Green Rock deck.
Black-Green cards.
Yeah. And it looks like Overgrown Tomb is a good place to be if you're playing Modern.
Well, it allows you to be proactive and disruptive.
Yeah.
And as formats expand in power, Modern versus Standard, that's a huge jump in power of the decks. You need to be both things. Yeah. If you're not playing dishonestly, if you're trying to play fair Magic, you can't just have a curve of creatures on the table. You're going to lose on turn 3 or turn 4. And you can't just try to kill everything because you're going to lose to card advantage decks. So no surprise that green-black with Tarmogoyf and Thoughtseize and Abrupt Decay and Maelstrom Pulse, that mixture of stuff just makes a lot of sense.
Just feels like such an honest deck to me to be one of the better decks in the format, but it is a really good deck. I played against it a lot at the Grand Prix last weekend, so it was good. It just surprised me. I was like, man, this deck seems like it's pretty fair and nothing special about it, but it was just good.
Stable mana.
Yeah.
Doesn't really care about Blood Moon.
Yep.
Can play all sorts of types of games. Can shift from a defensive role to an offensive role very quickly.
Yep.
Can go from protecting itself to closing a game out. Mm-hmm. It's 0 to 60 speeds, very impressive.
And Tarmogoyf is good at cleaning things up. Scavenging has a lot of utility in the format. It's so good against so many decks. And we all know how good Thoughtseize is.
Inquisition.
Liliana. Yeah, has all those cards.
Hard to go wrong.
Seen decks like that in the past, where it's almost like, the old Rock decks, the big problem was you drew the wrong half of your deck. It almost seems like there's no wrong half in this particular version.
The answer has become much more broad-based.
Yeah.
So when you have a deck full of Abrupt Decays and Maelstrom Pulses and Thoughtseizes, yeah, those cards don't always line up perfectly, but it's hard to miss by too much.
It was before with the Rock decks many moons ago where, you could draw Smother in the wrong matchup or some other things like that. Perhaps Spiritmonger wasn't what you were looking for. Also, Spiritmonger costs 2 mana now in Tarmogoyf, so there is that. I suppose that makes things different.
And Treachery is not legal, which is what doomed me the last time I played Spiritmonger in a big tournament.
I would have loved to see your face when your Spiritmonger got Treacheried.
Well, my deck got stolen the night before the PT, so I had to just build a deck out of the cards Gerard Fabiano had in his backpack. So I built a Rock deck, had 4 Mesmeric Fiends and 4 Pernicious Deeds. Not great deck building.
That's not a combo.
That's not a combo.
Okay.
4 Spiritmongers, I believe, were in the deck list. And the one time I got Spiritmonger to play, it was targeted by Treachery the following turn.
What deck were you going to play at that tournament?
Reanimator.
Would that have been a better choice?
No, our Reanimator deck was horrible. The Target CMU Reanimator deck from Pro Tour Houston was the worst deck in the history of the Pro Tour.
That one. That was the worst one.
Simply, we had, I believe, one person on our team of 27,000 people make top 64, and that's only because he got to play 5 of us over the course of the tournament. Yeah.
Jeez. What was the best deck in that format?
I I don't know. Justin Garrier won with Oath. Oath was really good.
That's strange.
Rob Darty had a real reanimator deck.
A Benzo?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's a different card pool. But
Okay. Wow, Oath was good, huh?
Justin's deck was probably the best deck in the tournament. That deck was beyond busted.
Very surprising to me that Oath was good.
Yeah. And that's when you could only flip over a Cogdivore.
Yeah.
That's before, you could get a Gristlebrand or whatever.
You could only flip over a 15-15.
Well, sometimes it wasn't even that big.
Big enough.
Oath of Druids, Mahamudi Dijin. Oath of Druids is still good enough that Mahamudi Dijin is the creature you get. It's still fine.
Yeah. Game number 2 here. No discard spell for Jonathan, as both players would keep their 7. Warren with a swamp. Follow-up is a Thoughtseize. So let's take a look here at Underworld Connections, a Pack Rat, a Desecration Demon, a Bile Blight, and 2 more swamps.
So this is the type of hand that looks really powerful on the surface, but it's really easy for it to go into the trash can. If Warren has a way to either kill Pack Rat and take Underworld Connections, or take Pack Rat and blow up the connections, Jonathan doesn't have a lot left over in his hand of significance. Oh, interesting enough, going to take the Demon here.
That means his hand must be pretty good against what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a Bile Blight, Abrupt Decay kind of hand.
Yep. It's always very telling when what they take with Thoughtseize, because that means, oh man, if you're taking that, that means that the other 2 cards are just not in a good spot.
Yeah, Jonathan's already just put it in the graveyard.
And Warren could kill that thing right away with Devour Flesh, but he's opting not to. What that means is he likely has a Bile Blight. He's actually going to cast. Ooh, this is interesting.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. There's a Bile Blight. Easy there.
I'm surprised once Warren's gone down this path, why not let him hit you for 1 and maybe activate it?
Yeah, I agree. There's an Overgrown Tomb. That's going to come into play on tap. This leads me to believe we're going to see an Abrupt Decay.
Golgari Charm, perhaps, but yes.
That also works.
Something to blow this up.
Yep. If there's a way that you could draw a game up, this is it.
And now Jonathan's hand's not worth much, as I mentioned before. He's got a removal spell we know about.
Gonna fire at Mutavault and get into the red zone. Booth's gonna go down to 14. Booth's gonna do a lot of this with the Gray Merchant that he has in his hand. Looks like another Gray Merchant. Yep. There's a Temple. Black-Green's kind of fallen off the map a little bit. We saw Tenjum win with it many moons ago when we were in Cincinnati, beat Real in the finals, and that kind of put the deck on the map. And that was the first weekend that that Temple of Malady was a thing from Journey into Nyx. Now, as here's a Thoughtseize, so we're going to reveal a hand of 2 copies of Great Merchant and then a Devour Flesh along with a Swamp. It kind of stayed away. People went back to just the 20 swamps and, Mutavaults, and actually people have even moved away from the temples and just went to a very regular and normal mono black deck. So we haven't seen black-green a lot. But still looks pretty good.
Well, I think Black-Green becomes more justifiable the more Detention Spheres are in the format. And that's sort of been on a cycle, too. Detention Sphere is starting to come back a little bit in these blue-white builds and these Esper builds. No longer in Player Cleansing Lens, so it makes more sense to play Abrupt Decay in that world. To go out of your way to splash green.
Yeah. So it's time to draw. Again, we know the 2 cards. It's a Swamp and a Gray Merchant. Let's see what this card's going to be. It looked like it was a copy of Thoughtseize. Still think now's a pretty good time to deploy the Gray Merchant. Let's see, though. Looks like we're going to go with a Thoughtseize. Going to go down to 10 to do so. All right, take a Gray Merchant, leave you with a Bile Blight. That's okay.
And the mirror match, or mirror match-ish, gets in this spot pretty often where both players are out and the first person to draw something of significance wins.
Yeah. It could be Connections. It could be Desecration Demon.
Erebos.
Also good. Mutavault attack's going to put Booth down to 8.
Now, Jonathan has gotten in his shots here, so if he has a removal spell for this Gray Merchant, then suddenly he could just tempo out with Mutavault, but most likely it's going to come down to the first big draw.
Yeah, now it's about that time. So there's the Gray Merchant. Just a little drain and gain of 2, but more importantly, there's a 2/4 body out there to kind of mess with that Mutavault. Yes, Booth knows about the Bile Blight, and here it looks like a Gray Merchant there, so back down to 8. Paoletta's going to go back up to 20.
I believe Booth drew a Gray Merchant the previous turn here, so we can deploy that. And then we're in the staring contest waiting for fireworks.
Going to reorganize the mana here. Maybe this is a Connections? Who knows? It is a Connections. That's pretty good. Pass the turn back.
That's the first piece right there. Now, Warren is behind on damage quite a bit. He's at 8. So Jonathan may still be able to win this game with random removal spells backed up by his current attackers, but this, more than likely, he needs to find something significant to keep up.
Ooh, that'll work.
That counts.
Yeah, Erebos is really good here. Devotion is not all the way on, obviously, but Erebos is huge because now Booth can't get any more life. He's going to go down to 7 from connections. So he has the card advantage engine. His life is lower, and it's only going to get lower. Pack Rat the draw, but we know that's not great because we know there's a Bile Blight over there. Let's see what this is going to be. There is the rat, but you can't lean too heavily on that. There's a land. And pass it back. Erebos is pretty big there.
Yeah, if Warren gets on tap and Gray Merchant for 6 and go up to 13 with the connections going, he's got a huge edge. And Jonathan's got a lot of life to play with this Erebos to gas up.
Yeah, happy to pay 2 life, so he goes down to 18.
Erebos isn't quite as efficient as Underworld Connections, but Jonathan will likely be able to get to a spot where he has Devotion on, or for the most part on, and Warren needs to generate removal spells turn after turn to keep up with the board.
Yeah.
So that was the first big draw there, was that Erebos.
More mana, nope. There's the connections. Down to 6. Another card, though. All right, Booth is going to untap. Draw another card. Again, knows about Bile Blight. Going to cast Duress. This will force the hand of Bile Blight now. Now take care of Pack Rat. That's important, of course. Now you get to see the other card in hand. And that is a Duress, so that's going to bite the dust. Okay. Now it's about as good a time as ever to deploy Desecration Demon, I think.
Yeah, again, not getting better. And Warren needs to start pressuring Jonathan more importantly.
Yep.
He just can't let Erebos sit and play unchecked.
So there that is. 6/6 flyer in the house. Going to activate Erebos again. Will Paoletta. Down to 16 he goes.
And now he can't gain life because of the Erebos, but Warren is doing a very good job building up a board where this Gray Merchant could potentially be lethal in not that long. I mean, it's a drain for 8 right now. And Jonathan's taking a lot of damage dialing up Erebos right now.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a lot of life to play with, as you did mention, but he's got to be careful. He can't just, throw this away. Because it does not take long for these black decks to close out games. You hit for 6 once, you drain once, and it's like, all of a sudden, what happened to my life? I can't even activate Erebos anymore.
Yeah. And Warren's winding up a big pitch for next turn, too, with this Erebos,
Yeah.
or this Gray Merchant, rather.
So down to 5 goes Booth. For Warren, I wonder how good you feel about how things are going right now. He gets on tap.
He's both players are fearing a lot of draws out of the other player.
Yeah. There. It looks like he wants to play Temple, and he will. Nice thing here is that he plays Temple, he gets to take a look at the top card, and if it's something he likes, he gets to draw with Underworld Connections. But it's not something he did like at all, so he puts it to the bottom. All right, Demon Trigger on. Let's see what this is going to be. It's going to be draw a card first. Go down to 12. Eesh.
Yeah, it's getting dangerous.
Gonna activate Mutavault here, maybe?
But if Warren has a removal spell,
He has Devour Flesh in his hand. I actually like casting Devour Flesh here a lot. I guess this is okay. You can still Devour Flesh away the Gray Merchant. A little surprised to see no move there. He also has another Desecration Demon in his hand that he could have deployed that turn, I believe.
yeah, didn't play anything. Maybe he's just trying to set up one big kill. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, he's 2 mana away from casting everything in the same turn.
Yeah. A touch confused on that turn. Here's 2 mana. Wow, Pauletta's going to go down to 10.
I mean, if his hand says a Creation Demon, that feels like that's just free to cast.
Yeah. Let's see what this is going to be. There's a land. He spent 10 life to draw 5 cards. Looks like he doesn't want to play that land just yet. This one seems like it might be slipping away from Jonathan.
Yeah, there's this weird tension between I need to find something specific, but can I afford to pay 2 life here?
Yeah.
Can I keep going?
So Booth goes down to 4. It's 4 to 10 now all of a sudden. Draw a card. It's a Gray Merchant. I think he probably put the trigger on with the Demon. If he takes a 6, it's lights out.
Even if he takes 2.
Yeah.
I mean, if Gray Merchant comes across that and knocks him to 8, there's 8 Devotion in play.
That's true.
So this might be enough to get it done.
Got to attack. Yeah.
Yeah, test the waters.
It just feels like there's no reason to hold back.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. You know, there's no flash threat. There's no turning on Erebos out of nowhere. Nothing like that. Maybe he has removal spell. Maybe he doesn't.
I think you would have seen, I mean, a Dark Betrayal. I don't think Jonathan's taking this shot right here if he's got a removal spell, so.
There's 4 mana. There's a Desecration Demon.
I mean, I guess he's playing around a removal spell here, but all the evidence points to Jonathan not having anything.
He's going to have 4?
Well, at this point, he can find Gray Merchant plus castable permanent and win the game. And he has to find it now. I mean, the board's gotten completely out of control.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, hypothetically, if Warren has nothing, then say land, pack rat, merchant steals the game.
2.
Well, now
That's off now.
Yeah.
Sign in.
Yeah, he's just showing.
Yeah, okay.
He's
So
just conceding. He's just
Yeah,
signing
he's just
blank.
conceding. Yeah, he just couldn't find a way to do anything, even though he drew all those extra cards with Erebos. It didn't do anything, and Warren Booth wins the match. Black-Green Devotion takes down Mono Black, and what I actually feel to be pretty favorable for Black-Green, simply because of cards like Abrupt Decay and Golgari Charm.
It's the